Hello and welcome to Jamie's Motion Graphics. Today we will be discussing coloring. Coloring your work is one of the most important things you have to do to make it attractive. So let's just get into it and we'll see what we get. Okay, here we are in After Effects. We are going to start off with a new composition just to show you some stuff, and we're going to start off, I guess, with a solid. We're going to make it into a gray one because, well, if it's about coloring, you should start without color, right? So yeah, we have several effects that that I want to show because this is not about things like this. I can show you composition selected, new solid. So if I make this into red and I make a new one, hang on, into, oh, first of all, this is also color, I guess. Changing the color of one of your layers. I didn't want to discuss that, but yeah, now that I've done it, I should as well mention it's here in layer solid settings. You can change your color to whatever color that you want, and then the whole thing will change. But that's not what this is about. This is also not about this. If I hit the transparency, you can mix the colors of this layer with the one behind it, and even with the one behind that if you really wanted to. Yeah, that's not what this is about. This is about if I have several of these layers. Let's change this one to a little bit darker gray so you can actually see it. If I have this kind of setup, so with either gray or colors, it doesn't really matter because we can change them to gray anyway. How do I color this to make like nice compositions, things like that? So let's go into our first effect. Our first effect is called ramp. Ramp is well, I'll show you what it is. You just drop it on there. You select two colors. So for example, red and white in this case. Let's make it red and blue, so that we get a nice transition. You just get an overflow from one color into the other. It is pretty easy to understand how this works. You can adjust the beginning and end by changing the values. You can make it from linear into radial, which makes it into well, more of a circular event here. And you can of course address this by doing it like that. So yeah, you can just set all of this. It's very easy to understand. You have some of these well, things that you can do with it, and yeah, here you have the blend as well. It doesn't really do anything because, well, we have dark gray, so it will just become grayer. But it's a very easy effect. It just makes a ramp from, or some kind of a scale, I guess, between the two, and it will just say like, yeah, it goes from this color to this color. You can of course offset the colors, offset the middle, as you might have noticed, by dragging away the colors, things like that. So it's fairly easy to understand. Okay, that one done. Let's delete it. Let's go into the next effect and see both of our things here. Our main one is going to be curves. That's the one I personally use the most. It is also a very just useful one. Curves can be used on this. You can also make a new adjustment layer, so that's what we're going to do, because then it applies to both of them. I'm going to just paste it in here. And curves works with 4 options. Well, actually 5, but we're not going to use alpha. Alpha is very rarely used. You can of course use it, but well, whatever. This one first, the RGB, is just the lightness of your color. So you can you basically get the gray tone to another tone, and you can see that if you make it dark enough, then yeah, it will actually become black. Well, this way it will actually be black. If you make it like this, everything will be black. Yeah, if you put it all the way up here, everything will be white, and if you put it anywhere in between, it will just be gray tones. So will just be gray tones. Well, we can reset it here, so we're going to do that with our original colors. We're going to go into one of the channels. This is red, and obviously if I drag this upwards, things are becoming red. If I drag this down, things will become more blue and green. So yeah, blue-green, there you go. Easy enough to understand, right? So the green works exactly the same. If we move it up, everything will turn green. If we move it down, everything will become more blue and red. And if we reset this and we do the same with blue, then everything will be blue here. Everything will be, I guess, yellow. Yeah, yellowish here. And yeah, it's just a matter of knowing where your colors are. If we do less red, less blue and more red, then it becomes orange. And if we then take out the green, we get red. And if we put in the green, we get yellow. So that's how that works. It's just a combination of everything that makes this cool and that makes this into a very useful tool, but you do need to learn to work with it. I personally am not great with it because I'm not great at picking color combinations, but yeah, I normally just fiddle around until I have a color that is actually, well, satisfactory. So currently our red is down by quite a bit. Our green is down by quite a bit, which makes this into blue because blue is up. So just to explain how this works, this value is, or this line represents every color that we have, but not in color, but in brightness. So in where it is on the brightness scale. Here in the bottom left is black, here in the top right is white. So if we drag our color, let's say red, into the bottom right, we say that the dark colors become darker, and the light colors, whereas normally this point would be over here somewhere. So it's going vertically, never mind. So this point is now over here, and you can see that the brightness, which is the Y scale here, becomes a whole lot less. So the entire color spectrum becomes less. But what if I wanted to do something like this? I want to have like a little bit of this, I add another point, and I do it like this. Then our dark colors become darker. Well, you can see that because they're supposed to be over here, and now this point is over here. And then our light colors will become lighter because this point is supposed to be over here. So this makes a contrast curve, which is very useful for certain footage and things like that. Obviously here it doesn't really matter, but yeah, you can see the difference. This one becomes lighter, this one becomes darker, so the contrast between them becomes more, and you can see that even more if we do that for the other colors as well. Or if we do something similar to, yeah, now you can see it definitely. But if we do this for the original curve, so the RGB curve, this is just all colors at the same time, then you will see that the one becomes white and the other one becomes black. So this is of course very extreme. If we make it less extreme, it becomes less extreme. And I personally recommend that you never hit the top and bottom with these. So you can, of course, here you can definitely hit the bottom and the top, but it becomes very unnatural normally. Sometimes it's useful, sometimes it's not. But comparing this to the original, you will see that this is a much bigger contrast than this is. Just because, well, the lighter colors get lighter on this side, the darker color gets darker on that side. So with that being done, let's change our colors, because we need to for our next effect. We're going to set this one to red, and we're going to set that one to, let's say, green. Very bright colors, and that is exactly what we want. So nice vibrant colors. And then we're going to explain the tint effect. So tint is normally combined with something else, but you can use it. Oh, hang on, I put it on the wrong layer. Let's put it on the adjustment layer so it addresses both of them. As you can see, it removes all the color in the general settings. So it removes all color from the entire image. The thing is, you can now add it back in. So you can make your own color schemes by doing this. So if I want to have blue as my color scheme, I can just make everything into gray tones. Well, actually, I don't have to, but I can make everything into gray tones and then color it over here. But I just wanted you to see that tint in the natural thing just makes everything gray. If I make these things gray, so let's just make them back to gray. Should be easy enough. Like Control Z. And we put the tint effect on the adjustment layer because obviously I removed that, and then I add a color. It becomes matching colors. So you never have to worry about color schemes again if you use this, because all you need to do is to get a bunch of gray scales, or not scales, shades, and you can just slap on this effect, the tint, and you can just make whatever you want. Of course, you can also make this into red and then this into some other color. And then you do have to worry a little bit about your color setup. But yeah, you can see how they change. It because we change both colors now, not both layers get, or well, one layer gets affected more than the other, because this one is very light, this one's very dark, and especially if we put a curves on it first, we can make a contrast between them, and you can see that even though the colors still match, you can have colors that don't actually match together. But it still works. It works pretty nicely, and you can choose your own colors. I personally like it to only map the black or only map the white, but yeah, well, you can do whatever you want. So after this effect, we can actually do the curves effect if we wanted to. Put that on there and make it all, well, maybe more contrast. And that way, the color that we just created with this gets adjusted. We can also do it the other way. And, well, the result will be the same, because the curves basically, well, in this case, works on just one thing, so all colors at the same time. Both layers are gray in, well, if I put it before then, it will adjust the gray colors. And here both colors are red, so yeah, it doesn't really matter. If, however, we make the red into something else, it will not do anything, because, well, it just doesn't. Whereas here, it will change the colors, because it will actually put them closer together, because I took out some of the red, which means that the overall value of the light layer becomes less. Whereas the dark layer doesn't really care, because it didn't have a lot of color to begin with. So yeah, play around with that a little bit. They are very useful effects. I had one more, but let me find it. It is called Change to Color. There it is, and change to color is kind of a weird effect. I'm going to put it on the adjustment layer. You can also put it on individual layers. You basically pick a color that you want to change, and you pick a color you want to change it to. So let's change it to some blue so we can actually see it. And currently nothing is happening. So if we change, however, the hue and lightness, hue and saturation, and hue, lightness, and saturation, you get different effects. And with only two colors in our picture, it kind of isn't a good effect. But sometimes it can be very nice to have this, and because it addresses certain colors and none of the others. And because these are two gray scales, because these are two shades of gray, it becomes less of a good effect. But it is a very useful effect at times. It's just not used a whole lot. But hey, sometimes you just have to go with it. Then out of these other effects, you also have the color correction tab here. Oh, in effect, of course. Color correction. And there you have all of these other effects. Colorama can be very useful. I can actually show you what it does. It actually changes all colors to more, well, brightness colors, and you can change a whole lot out of it. So you can scroll through it yourself. You can actually set one of the presets. So let's take fire and smoke, for example. It will address or change all of the colors to something out of this color wheel. So you can see that if we put none, then the original one, which is, I don't even know, RGB, I guess. Yeah, so the red is up top, the green is here, and the blue is here, and it will change them directly to one of these colors. So red will either become white or black, depending on, well, which side of the thing you're on, and then it will just go around. So green becomes this kind of color, and blue becomes this kind of color. It's kind of automatically able to make you the things that you want, well, the color spectrum, I guess. So you can change your entire color spectrum to something that has to do with, well, blue or well, one of the others. There are several other settings, and some of them are really nice in certain well, pictures that you're trying to colorize, and some are better at other things. But yeah, you just will have to just try them out. Some of them work really well with specific drawings or, well, concepts or whatever you're trying to make. And some of them are like really terrible at one thing but really great on another. So yeah, just wanted to show you. Deleting the colorama, and then we're going to go back to the effects once again. Color correction. So color balance is of course nice. You can check that out yourself. Everyone will understand how that works. Hue and saturation, that's one from Photoshop. And then yeah, we see the tint here. Tritone can be useful, but it's not very useful. But yeah, hue and saturation I think is the best known, and yeah, all of the other ones not that good at doing, well, general color changes. But yeah, you have a lot of options. The ones that I mentioned are pretty much the ones that you want to learn, and there may be some others that you want to learn, but hey, that's all up to you. I hope you learned something today, and I will see you next time.